Hello, and welcome to another edition of The Discourse. My name is Robin Licelli. I'll be hosting today. And as it is Women's Month, we are focusing on women in tech. We are joining Huawei and Henley Business School on the second day of the Huawei Women in Tech 2024 Digital Skills Training Program. And today I'm joined by Vanashri Govender. She is the Senior Manager for Media and Communications at Huawei, as well as Christine Williams. She's a Henley Business School faculty and trainer for this week's program. So first of all, thank you for taking time to chat to us. We do appreciate it. How are you guys doing?
Hi, Robin. Well, I'm doing well. It's been exciting 2 days. How are you doing,
Yes,
Christine?
lovely to meet you. Thanks for having us.
Yes, well, again, we do appreciate you guys taking the time. I know that you're very busy, and I know this kind of 2 days has been quite intensive in terms of the curriculum you guys are going through and kind of how the training has been going. Before we kind of dive into the training itself, Vanessa, I just wanted to get some feedback from you as regards this program. It's been going for 3 or 4 years now.
So we started in 2021, and we had the program online. I got the idea in 2020 when we were in lockdown,
Sure.
and I noticed there was such a proliferation of women sharing the services and goods that they had been making at home or selling, and everybody went online, as we all know. So I thought about how we could formalize that a little bit more and look at how technologies can support women in technology. Even if you're a baker making birthday cakes and you're using social media and marketing, how do you adapt to this new economy, a digital economy, and how do you scale your business using technology? So the first year was quite intensive. We did training in cloud. We did cloud for, I think, 3 days, if I remember correctly. And then we added some digital marketing to that first one. The second one, we still did cloud. We added digital marketing and then leadership. And the last year was specifically related to technologies like 5G, cloud, AI. And then this year we've expanded it a little bit more by adding a partnership with Henley Business School. And obviously, it gives the program a lot more credibility, and it brings, a different academic dimension to the program. So we've always done it in partnership with the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies. And we run various ICT training programs with them, Women in Tech being one of them.
Great stuff. And I think that kind of segues quite nicely into Henley's involvement. So, Christine, you kind of been heading up things during the second day of the training. What has been kind of your core focus as far as the short-term curriculum that's been presented today?
Yeah, so we're delighted to be partnering Huawei on this. Henley Business School Africa obviously focuses a lot on women. It's one of our key passion areas, and we are excited to be able to, particularly women in tech, which is obviously a massive need. The day today predominantly has focused on what we call personal mastery, and it basically has 3 big components. The first being, how do I show up in this new economy, this new world? And they spent a lot of time yesterday going through all the new and different developments in this space. And a lot of that is about saying, what does that personally mean for me and my skills and my abilities and my confidence and how I show up? So that was the first part. We then did a piece on neuroscience of leadership, which was really understanding their own minds and the minds, the brains of those around them, in order to make a better human connection. So that was really what the second part. And then this afternoon we are looking at work-life balance and integration. So really looking at how do they manage their professional and personal careers and how they balance all the things that they need to do.
Great stuff. We kind of into the campus when the neuroscience portion was being presented. It looked like quite an engaging session. What has been your kind of, how have you kind of viewed the responses as far as the participants involved today?
So an amazing group of women. Let me start with that. It's been fantastic. It's always wonderful as a lecturer to have to ask people to stop talking rather than start talking. Sure. So very engaged, some excellent insights. And, I think the combination of having government departments, some entrepreneurs, and the combination is really fantastic because you get such different perspectives. And I think a lot of commonality in some of the challenges, but then very different manifestations of it. The neuroscience one is always an interesting one. I think it's often quite alienating for people, but we try and just talk about what that means for leadership and how that affects our ability to be able to get people on sides, how to get people to follow you, how to communicate. And I think, there were some really good insights from the ladies. So loved the conversation. It was really good, very rich.
Sure. I obviously don't want you to give the entire presentation or get anything for free. But as far as leadership in whatever kind of business space it is for women, it's quite different as opposed to a male approach. What are some of the things you're trying to impart on the participants here today?
So, particularly if you look at women in tech, there are definitely some challenges in the industry being historically quite male-dominated. Some big shifts are being made, and programs like this one done by Huawei is an amazing way of actually building the capability and the focus on it, which is fantastic. I focus a lot on what are they as women contributing to the equation. So it's very easy to go, well, the industry is tough, or men are really hard on us, but owning their own contributions. So where are they not putting their hands up? Where are they not making the most of opportunities? Where are they not believing in themselves? So I do a lot of work with women in particular, and often there's the same themes come up around confidence. Around being able to sort of gravitas, being able to hold your space, find your voice, and I think a lot of that is social impact of how we were all raised in our schooling and culturally. But I think it's there's new challenges for women to be able to manage this world of their professional careers and their personal lives, often quite different spaces, but highly integrated. We were talking about the whole work from home situation or remote work and how that has affected people's ability to be able to separate work, professional and personal. So there's a lot of new challenges, I think, since COVID particularly. But it's about how do women show up in this space and remain women,
Sure.
And make the most of what they have to bring to the party.
Great stuff. I forgot to ask one more, just around South African women. How do they kind of differ as far as kind of other parts of the world? Because South African women are quite confident. You're mentioning trying to own your space, but at least from my perspective, it seems like South African women are quite good at that. So what is your kind of perspective on things?
Fascinating, yes. So I do work all over the world, and it is very interesting to compare because I do think we have some contradictions in the South African context. So, I do think we have incredibly strong women. Many communities were run by matriarchs for many years during the apartheid era, etc. Yeah. So the concept of strong women is not something people are unfamiliar with in the South African context, but then we do still have quite a lot of chauvinism, particularly in the corporate environment or some of the government departments, etc. So there's a sort of tension or conflict between the two. And really the balance is to say, actually, how do I show up in a way that is authentic to who I am? And makes the most of my strengths, but at the same time also understands the environment in which I am and the sort of cultural dynamics. So, it's complex. I think we underwrite ourselves as South Africans. I always find it amazing that my South African classes are often the strongest of all the classes I deal with internationally. It's great at coming up with solutions, making, finding ways of doing things, the normal South African things that are always celebrated. So really great. That's
actually great to hear that South Africa is kind of a standout in that perspective. Vanessa, I wanted to get your kind of thoughts on this. As far as Huawei's involvement with women in tech, you mentioned it is a relatively new initiative, but this year was quite significant in terms of it being an in-person event as opposed to virtual. What kind of challenges did that bring, and how have you found the kind of past days?
So, I think that we've just so quickly and quietly slipped back into in-person stuff. So, logistically, it was pretty simple. This year, the difference between this year and the past years is that in the past we spoke specifically to a target audience of women entrepreneurs. And we had the courses online so that we could have more people participate. from various different parts of South Africa, from rural KZN to Johannesburg to Cape Town, and we obviously could reach lots more people. So we were able also then online to go into much more detail with the technologies. So this year we decided to do things a little bit differently by involving senior managers from the Department of Communications and Technology. And then another key emerging stakeholder for technology and for Huawei in South Africa is the Department of Minerals and Petroleum Resources, because the mining sector is embracing new technologies like 5G, cloud, and AI. And so we thought to include the women managers from those departments to sort of showcase what the potential of these technologies are for the industries within which they serve as policymakers and stakeholders. So that was the key difference that set this year apart from the rest. And it was fantastic that both departments they didn't hesitate to make the women available, to give them the time off, to attend the lessons and to attend the in-person classes. And I hope that it can grow and reach a bigger cohort of women as we go forward. I think it's very important that Huawei's approach to dealing with ICT education. Robin, you're very familiar with our ICT talent ecosystem. So it starts from leadership right down to primary school students. That's what we want to take the sort of knowledge of technology across that spectrum. So this year showcases exactly that, and specifically targeting women because we're in Women's Month, and this is Huawei Women in Tech.
Great stuff. I also wanted to find out just around the curriculum for the training on day one. 5G and AI were kind of highlighted as areas of focus. AI in particular is quite pervasive, but it's evolving at a really rapid rate. How has Huawei kind of approached that to ensure that what is being taught this year is still going to be relevant 2 or 3 years from now?
So as you said, it's changing so dramatically. So for example, with 5G, when we did the first course, in 2019, we launched 5G in South Africa with our partners, Rain. And at the time, we were, everybody was talking about this new technology, and there was lots of suspicion around it. But we knew the potential that it had to leapfrog our economy. So the first year's course was, what is 5G? How does it work? What are the basic technology improvements that it has on the previous generation of mobile technology? And then this year, our course was looking at how 5G is. So we talked about what 5G could do then, and now we're seeing what 5G it's actually doing what we said it could do then. So the course material is about current case usage. So, for example, in China, I think, and in some other places, driverless cars are now, you can actually see them on the roads. Back then, it was just like, oh my gosh, okay, we couldn't conceive of it. But it's moving so fast that each year we're seeing new applications coming to the market and becoming normalized in countries where they're embracing it fully. Mostly in Asia. So it's very exciting for us to be able to show people here still that, this is still coming and it's already happening in other places. So we keep because Huawei is such a massive global company, we keep the applications are completely always new and at the very, very cutting edge of how the technology can be deployed.
That's good.
So that's how we keep it. That's how we keep it up to the minute, sort of, relevant.
That's good to hear. I think it'll be interesting to see how that curriculum evolves over the years. And that kind of leads me just to my last question, just around the future of Women in Tech program. Kind of where do you see it evolving over the coming years? Perhaps expanding, perhaps happening more times throughout the year? What are the thoughts there?
I mean, I think the possibilities are endless. So Huawei's CSR programs span a variety of applications. So we've got Huawei Tech for Good, which looks at the environment primarily and how technology can improve and benefit and preserve our climate. And then we have Women in Tech, which specifically, as we know, women are a marginalized grouping in society. So we want to bring women into the fore of the latest technologies. And we have other projects like Seeds for the Future. So as we gain momentum with projects like this year, we got HQ funding for Women in Tech, and it's already on their radar. And, the possibilities are endless for how we can develop it further.
That's fantastic. Yeah, hopefully we're around next year to perhaps to get updated, see how things are going. And then, not to put you on the spot, Christine, or Henley's, kind of put them on the spot, but as far as your involvement with Huawei, you guys looking to kind of continue the relationship?
We're hoping to have a long-term career relationship on this. So, as I say, it's something we're very passionate about, and Henley's been pushing very hard to get more female students into higher programs. So absolutely, it totally aligns. I think there's a massive alignment of values and vision on it. So absolutely.
Yeah, I think Henley is a very innovative institution, and we've talked about expanding our partnership beyond just Women in Tech.
Mm-hmm.
So we're also looking forward to pushing this partnership forward as we take education and technology into the future.
Yeah, exciting times ahead. So again, thank you for taking the time to chat to us. We do appreciate it. We'll allow Christine to get on with the rest of the sessions for today. And again, we will link to kind of Henley Business School, Huawei Women in Tech, their portal at the bottom of this episode. And yeah, hopefully next year there can be even more engagement. So thanks again.
Thanks,
Thank
Robin.
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Discourse. My name is Robin Chetty, and now we're shifting over to the government perspective as regards Huawei 2024 Women in Tech Digital Skills Training Program. I am joined by Mimi Balewa Tao from the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, as well as Eve Labengwa from the Department of Minerals and Petroleum Resources. Ladies, first of all, do appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. We know you have very busy schedules. And yeah, so again, thank you for having to sit down with us. So I know that your time is very precious, so I just want to kind of jump into things. How has the DCDT been involved with Huawei over this initiative? Because I understand it's been running for about 3 years now. What's your involvement been like?
Firstly, thank you for having us. I think one of the important elements is, as a Department of Communications and Digital Technologies led by DG Nonqubela Tedakahle Jordan Gyan, we realize that on our own we can never do it. Mm-hmm. And we've always been clear that collaboration and partnership are very important. And to that end, we then partnered with Huawei. And we've been looking at different programs. For example, we had signed what we called a cooperation contract, we call it a CC, in 2016, where we realized that there's a lot to learn from Huawei. And we started then looking at universities, because we know the challenge of youth unemployment and the importance of having a skilled force. So we then did a Seeds for the Future program, where we look at these universities, including the previously disadvantaged universities, and we take these students to China for a period of 2 weeks to be trained, especially in emerging technologies like your 5G, your IoTs. And we did not stop there. We then looked at SMME training programs, who were then trained here in South Africa at the Joint Innovation Center. And now this program, which is really happening during the important month, Women's Month. I think it's for the first time that the department is participating in this program. And I think when the DG addressed us today, even highlighted the strategic partnership that the department has with Huawei. And to that end, we're even looking at a possibility of having some of these women who are trained today to really go and exchange and see for ourselves when we talk about policy exchange and how far they've gone, and not just sit in a class format like we were doing today. So this has really been a journey for us, and we looking forward to working with Huawei. I mean, if I may just add, there will be a presidential state visit to China, and one of the important visit for our president will be to Huawei, given our strategic relations. Thank you very much.
Great stuff. Thank you for that. And then, Eve, I understand obviously now that the DCDT has been involved with Huawei for quite a long time, but from what I understand, the Department of Minerals is relatively new in terms of that relationship. How have you guys been involved as far as Women in Tech is concerned?
So we have had the privilege of our department being chosen by the Department of Communications to partner with them in this initiative. Mm-hmm. And I'm one of those 10 women who have been chosen to represent the department and just really to learn more than anything and see how the technologies that Huawei has on offer could be leveraged in our space. And I must say that it was just interesting to see how they are even operating in spaces such as mining, where, as you would know, the department, among other challenges we have in the industry, is safety in mining. And I saw quite a lot of technologies that could assist the department. Even in our role, we regulate the mining industry. And if there are deaths, there are accidents or occupational diseases in industry, we ultimately are accountable as regulators. Yes, mining companies have to account, but we are responsible to put the legislation. So I believe that, if in mining this kind of technologies were to be adopted, it will make our regulatory responsibility easy to discharge, because now you would have mining inspectors that can use technologies that give them real-time data, that give them access to inspections that physically would not have necessarily been possible in some of the environments. So I do think that it presents an opportunity in the mining space, not only just for us as a department, but for industry. And as lawmakers, maybe there's room for us to look at what could be put into regulation, not necessarily to allow Huawei to come into the space, but to allow technology to be a strategy that we leverage to deliver on our mandate.
Great stuff. I'd like to stick with you, Eve, please. One of the earlier sessions that we had, we discussed the Government of National Unity, kind of the hope that has sprung forth as a result of that collaborative initiative. What does that mean for your department and your thoughts on the adoption of technology as an enabler for the mining sector? Do you think GNU is going to really thrive as a result of that?
I think GNU, from a political perspective, it gives the country an environment where you are open to ideas of others who may historically have been competitors. So it helps us to work in a collaborative way. And I'm hoping that part of what it brings is that open-mindedness and innovation that comes from seeing how other people actually think such problems, such as what I've just mentioned, for example, in safety, but even in how we leverage the resources we have as a country to improve our economy, to play in spaces where we historically, South Africa and Africa at large, we're not known for being experts. And I mean, it's now a cliche that we have the resources, we mine everything of quality, and we export it. And everybody decries this because we don't beneficiate our minerals. And I really believe that partnering with industry such as tech industries, whether you're talking Huawei or any other technology player in the space, could help the GNU to look at what we know as historical problems in a more creative and innovative way, and to see how technology can help us reach milestones that typically we've never reached as South Africa, probably never even thought possible.
Thank you for that answer. I think, it's a very exciting time at the moment. Mimi, I kind of want to ask you the same thing. Obviously, DCDT has a new head of that portfolio. What are your thoughts as regards moving forward with the GNU and kind of technology as an enabler for the country?
Oh, well, GNU, I think my colleague has already touched on that, and I think it really gives us an opportunity to work together as a team, as South Africans, and forget about the color of our skin, and really fly the South African flag high, as the Springbok does. Sorry, in my other life I'm the SARU board member.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm bringing Springboks where they not necessarily required. So I think in terms of our new leadership, I've always said in the spaces that I'm at that we're actually lucky and people always open their eyes. And I say this because we've got such an energetic minister in Minister Soli Maladzi. And we have a deputy minister who was there in the space. But most of all, you have a deputy minister who is so matured, who then is ready to work so closely with the new minister, for the benefit of the country. Because, and I think really we're at that point where we don't want to leave anyone behind. We want to ensure digital inclusion. And that is why we want to make sure even in rural areas, our department is there. And we want to ensure that ICT is an enabler, and an enabler across all sectors, be it education, be it e-health, be it mining as we're speaking now. So we are in that journey, and we want to make sure that our country is really digitally transformed. And the only best way we can do that is to ensure that we work on skills like we are doing now. And as you know, there's very few women in this space. And I think the leadership, being a woman, of course, the DG of the department was very eager for us as women to be in this program. And of course, the partner, Huawei, was also very eager. So I think it was very important for us to ensure that we have skills so that we don't only have a male-dominated ICT industry, but this is one of the efforts to ensure that we bring women in the space, but skilled women, not just women. Thank you.
I am aware that your time is very precious, so I just want to end with one question for each of you. The same question, just around what your hopes or what you're going to be focusing on as regards women in tech for the next year or so. I'm not too sure if you're going to be involved with this particular program, but kind of what are you focusing on? Eve, if you want to perhaps.
So I hope to be involved. Yes. I would like opportunities like that to be extended, not only just to myself, because I also operate in a space of women in the department. I'm actually responsible for ICT audits. So part of what I would like for this program to achieve is to open it up to not just women in SMS in government, but I think there's a lot of women specialists who may actually pitch at a junior level than the SMS level within government, who, if we catch them this young, if we catch them this early, when they actually get promotions into these SMS positions, would have harnessed that skill, that interest, and even that ability to use technology to enable, because now at the policy level, SMS and above, to enable the department to see what strategic initiatives they can get involved in with technology to improve how we do things. I think one thing that I really do not like when I hear colleagues say, it's just how we always talk ourselves down to say, no, government is backward, government. But I do think that initiatives such as this actually call us to a higher level of what is possible. But until we get ourselves exposed or we get opportunities given to us to learn about technology and what's out there, I think we would always think that we are backward. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Mimi, your thoughts?
Well, I don't know where to start. I think my colleague has covered me once again, but I just want to say that I think there's a whole lot more that needs to be done for women, especially black women, given the past where we come from, because you then are expected to be in leadership positions, and you can't lead without having gone through
You need to be develop or to be developed,
Yes.
and that comes from
Yes.
opportunity, but also self-initiative. I think historically, women we are shy of anything technical,
Yes.
and I think that's where we do ourselves a disservice. But we need to come to a space or get to a space where we realize that if we give it time, if we give it the resources and the energy required, we can
it's
learn.
from how we were brought up. Culturally, our role as women, especially as black women, was in the kitchen. And that's why we're scared of fields such as engineer, of ICT, and even our kids. I mean, they all go to maths lit and something needs to be done, you know. And so there's a lot of programs that I think as government, we should be conscious and really do them. And I think for this one, if I may differ with my friend, that it's good that they first started with SMS,
yeah.
SMS women, because I promise you today especially opened up things that we're not aware of as a leader, as a woman leader, because sometimes we have potential of bringing each other down because we're competing with ourselves in the space. So as a leader, you first need to go back and plow back what you've given to the MMS. I'm sure they didn't want a situation where it's us and them, where they'll be saying, that's what they do, that's what, you know. But I think as we move forward, we would need to bring other women in lower position because as she says, you also need to consider starting them at a young age and not when we're still struggling a lot with these, you know, because once there's a difference being thrown in the end and the opportunity to be exposed.
Yes.
You know, and I think as women we need that. I mean, once again in China, whether you are a minister or what, you go through a training, you know, and I think we need that as women because we have a potential, you know. It's just that the society has got certain expectation of women, and I think sometimes it gets too much.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know where to start, but we talked about it here. The fact that a man and a woman in the boardroom, a woman has to rush, go to pick up kids, go to cook, go to what, and that man will be more effective in the boardroom because he's not rushing. You know, for other responsibilities.
The support is there.
The support is there, you know. And so we need to support each other more and we need to really do more. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to end things. I know that your time is very valuable, so I do appreciate you taking the time to actually sit down with us and kind of share your thoughts. And I think, hopefully next year we can have a chat again just to see how things are developing, because I think programs like this are certainly reaping some benefits, and hopefully more of them will be happening down the line. So thanks again.
Thank you
let's
so
also
much.
take the time to thank you, and thank you our partner Huawei and the Henley Business School. Thank you very much.
Great stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.